Limitations on viewing baseline data. The following types of data may not be read from an activity window column, table, histogram from a project baseline or primary user baseline. You can't read relationships, you can't read constraints, you can't read the critical path, but it is possible to show a critical bar in the Gantt chart. Individual resource costs or units, they're grouped up by resource type like labour or non-labour. And material resource and expense units, you can't see them at all, either as individual or grouped. The following types of data may not be read from a secondary user and a tertiary user baseline. You can't read actual and remaining durations, total and free float, percent complete, and any resource or expense data at all. So basically the tertiary and secondary user baselines only show dates and durations. So in this project, it has baselines and it has resources. And if I go to project and assign baselines, you can see I've assigned a baseline. It's the same one, but I've assigned a baseline for the project baseline, primary and secondary and tertiary. By assigning a baseline, this will then maximize the number of columns available to view. And if I select OK and I go to your columns, the first thing I want to show you is that if I go to list, you won't see predecessors and successors of the baseline activities, and you won't see the constraints. So if I go to general, you won't see the constraint type for baseline or baseline 1. Also the critical path, you won't see the critical value here for the critical path, but you can show a critical bar. You see that's a non-critical baseline bar and a critical baseline bar, and this can be achieved by going into the bars form, and you can create a critical and non-critical baseline bar. You can see here, so this is a baseline bar showing non-critical and normal, so they have to be non-critical and normal, and this is showing a baseline bar which is critical and normal here, so that's showing critical and normal. So this is showing the baseline bar for critical and non-critical, but you can't see that in a column. Also, if I go to columns and I have a look at costs, I can see the costs for my labour, material and expenses, but I can't see individual labour, material and expenses, so I can't see individual resources in columns. And if I go down to units, you'll also see down here that I can't see material or non-material units whatsoever. If I look at the durations, you'll see that I can see the durations for the baseline and baseline 1. You can see the float and the durations, actual and remaining, but I can't see the durations for baseline 2 and 3. I can't see the free float either for 2 and 3. If I go down to percent completes, you can see here that I can see the percent complete types and percent completes for baseline and baseline 1, but I can't see baseline 2 and 3 or the secondary and tertiary. And if I look at resources, I can see absolutely no resource data in terms of cost or units again for baseline 2 and 3. So there are quite a few restrictions in the amount of data you can actually read from a baseline. You'll see that this flows through the product in quite a number of places. And if you go and have a look at histograms and tables, you'll find that there are similar restrictions, but you need to go and explore them.